John Sargent with the Alarm Museum, and we're in San Francisco at the Fairmont Hotel for the California Alarm Association Convention. It's December 2024.
Thanks, John. I'm Ralph Sevinor from the Alarm Museum, and I have a great honor of introducing someone I've known from the California Alarm Association for many years in the San Great Gabriel area. I believe in the industry since early 1970, so you think about it, significant amount of time. So Daniel?
Yes.
Daniel Johnson from Diversified Alarm in the San Gabriel area.
I'm in San Gabriel right now.
Right.
I grew up I was born in Los Angeles. My mom's Chinese, my dad's Irish, and back then, my teachers used to say, "What are you?" And I used to tell them, "I'm American." And but
Good answer.
what happened is one day, it was actually the late 70s, so I will correct you. We got burglarized. They came in
your house?
At our house.
Okay.
They pried open the living room window, came in and did what they do. And my dad's friend was an electronic engineer for TRW.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, "Dan, you should just put alarm in." So my dad,
And how old were you?
at that time, I was like 16, 17. But I was raised, we had to contribute to the mothership. My parents had an apartment building, so I was always mowing the lawn, cleaning the laundry room. So, by the time I was 13, I knew how to change ball cocks, toilets, faucets. So, and my dad was actually a deputy district attorney, and my mom was a realtor. And but they were both from the Depression era, and they both believed in hard work. They never gave us money. You had to go and earn it. So what happened is when we got burglarized, my dad's friend, Richard Don, God bless his soul, said, "Hey, put this alarm in." So he brought the equipment over. It was a Pro Model 410 with 3 circuits, instant, interior, and delay.
So he was in the electronics business.
He's an engineer at TRW.
Right.
But
what was his tie to the alarm equipment?
he put an alarm in his house
Got it.
because he's an electronics guru.
Right.
So he just dropped off this equipment, foil for the windows, the wire. So, me and my dad, we put an alarm in our house. And I was interested, and we wired all the windows, and that was when you daisy chained things. And no motions, there's carpet pads, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's time after I did the house, I wasn't making any money. I had like a paper route, and I used to work at the local market, and people came over, and one of my cousins said, "Hey, can you put one of those in my house?" And it just kind of snowballed. So I did my cousin's house, and then I did my auntie's house, and back then the alarm companies charged a lot of money to put an alarm in.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad's friend got tired of me asking him to go and buy equipment for me. So he's like, here's where I buy it from. So he introduced me to a guy named Bill Smith. I don't know if you know Bill Smith, D-Techtronic Security in Lawndale, California. So I drove out there and I started buying equipment from Bill.
So he was an alarm company.
He was an alarm company, and he would sell me the equipment,
Mm-hmm.
and then those who wanted it monitored, I would just turn it over to him. And so I was doing it all the way through college, and I was making pretty good money.
What'd you go to school for?
I was a finance major, and when I graduated, I interviewed, and I interviewed at Hughes, a couple aerospace companies, because back then aerospace was really big in Southern California. And they wanted to start me out at X, and I was like, shoot, I made a lot more than that,
Yeah.
and I only worked part-time. So I just said, I'm going to start my own alarm company. And by then, Bill had sold. He had sold to Vivitar. And so when he sold, I'm like, Bill, where am I going to get my equipment? He says, Danny, just get the forms to take the test. I'm going to sign for your experience. Because while I was working, I used to do alarms for him, and he would give me parts as payment. And so that's how I got started. So my original license number in California was 2463.
Wow.
And then when I incorporated several years later, as I got bigger, I had to change my number, so now I'm 5547. But I've been here since the tape dialer. I think the big thing in my I don't know if you guys remember the NAPCO MA800.
Sure, of course.
That was like huge, 6 zones, memory, and it just kept snowballing from there. But as a little guy, when Bill sold his company, he sold me his truck, his Toyota 1979 Toyota SR5 with the bin in the back. And
So the company, Vivitech, I think it was, that bought
Vivitar bought them.
Vivitar, they just bought the accounts. So
Exactly.
he sold everything else to you.
Yeah, he just sold out, and then he moved down south to Orange County. So I ended up doing alarm in his house in Orange County. And we were very good friends for a long time. And then he moved to Arizona. And but I just clunking along. And
So you had your license then at that part? Right?
at that point, yeah. And I got licensed in 85, 86. When I graduated college, I became above board.
Yeah. So then did you focus in a specific geographic area, or did you just put alarms in anywhere that they came up?
If they called me, I went.
You
And
went.
you have to remember, back then you can drive anywhere in LA proper, and there wasn't a lot of traffic. It's not like it is today.
Yeah.
And most of my clients were the kids I grew up with. Mainly, a lot of them were their parents. And I grew up in an Asian community, and I went to a Japanese church. Even though I'm Chinese, I went to a Japanese church. And the Japanese community that I grew up in, like my church, they're still my alarm customer. And a lot of my friends and their families they're our customers.
So the community really supported you in this endeavor.
Yeah, I think my mom was a typical Asian mom. It's like, you went to school. When are you going to get a real job? And I think she told me that probably for about 10 or 15 years. And
but you were doing okay.
well, when I moved to a small city called San Marino, and I said, Mom, I want to buy this house. I need you to come and look at it. And she looked at me like, and I said, I got to borrow a little money though. And she's like, wow, this house is so old. And my mom's partner, who was Richard Don's wife, said, Esther, put the offer in, and the rest was history. So when I moved there, I think my mom said, I guess he has a real job, because he's not asking me for money.
Did you work the business out of the house?
At first, I started, when I graduated college, my dad said, all right, Junior, you got 3 months, get out of the house. I'd love to let you live here. Mom cooks your food, does your laundry, but I wouldn't be doing you a favor, so you need to get out of here. And depression. My dad was in World War II in the Pacific Theater. He came back. He was a policeman, LAPD, hated it, so he took the LSAT to get into law school, because back then you didn't need a college degree, and he actually got admitted to law school. So my dad has a law certificate, but he ended up passing the bar, and he worked at the DA's office, and that's where he retired from. And but yeah, I was like salesman one day, installer the
Technician
next,
the next day, serviceman the third day.
crawling around, and I've kind of done a lot of things.
When did you realize, Daniel, the importance of reoccurring income?
Kind of early on, you know, when I got around maybe, I don't know, 50, 60 accounts, I'm like going, oh, this is nice, because if you have a slow week or something, remember I was a one-man band.
Right.
And then then I hired another guy. Then and I just grew organically, slowly from that.
Did you do any acquisitions?
Yes, I've done 3.
Tell me about them. The good, bad, and ugly.
The good, bad. One of them was actually they've all been good. You know, I guess the hard thing is on the biggest acquisition I did, a lot of the clients were very upset that they were acquired by Diversified. And but I still have 80% of them. So the ones that want to leave, they're going to go. But if you take care of them, they aren't going anywhere.
Right.
It's all about customer
Yeah,
service.
it's pretty easy. You just have to take care of the customers.
You know,
right?
hey, I'm going to be there at 9. That means you show up at 8:45.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's my generation. That's how I was raised.
What do you use for product?
I'm alarm.com. Thankfully, I have other dealers I talk to, and we all share information, and
Now, alarm.com works, I think, with Qualsys and a few other panels, right?
yeah, there's Qualsys and then the DSC Neo.
So you're somewhat agnostic on you'll use any of those as long as it uses alarm.com?
Yeah, but I'm still an old hardwire guy. If we can do it hardwire, I like to hardwire.
Yeah.
You know, people say, "Wow, you know, you could just lick and stick," and yeah, but you got a battery that you have to worry about.
Yeah.
And you may say, "Well, it's not a big deal. It's every 5 years," but they say 5 years, but it's really, you know,
I'm a hardwire guy too.
Me
Yeah.
also.
And I have been all my life. I part of my system actually today is wireless, but that's because it got too hard for me.
You didn't want to crawl. You didn't want to crawl anymore.
Exactly.
So yeah, you know, I mean, I twist the wire together. I have a Chinese soldering gun, which is a Bic lighter and solder. I would solder all my ends.
You still solder your
I
connections?
still solder my connections.
Good for you.
I used to
Great.
lug the cord around, and I had the Weller soldering gun, but now I just Bic lighter works much better.
Right.
Huh.
It's quick and
Interesting.
easy.
What's in the future?
Well, I'm 64, and I'm crossing that threshold right now. Unfortunately, me and my wife never had any children. Nieces and nephews aren't really interested in the business, but I guess the concerning thing for me is my customers. You know, people say, well, you know, just sell it and you get a bunch of money, but I'm like, what's going to happen to my kids? My customers are my kids.
Yeah.
And my employees.
Yeah, that's
You know,
commendable. How many employees do you have?
I have about 10. I had more, but you know, with the COVID, that's kind of changed this whole world. And but yeah, I have 10 solid people, and most of them have been with me for a long time.
Any possibility of a next generation out of the 10?
That's what I'm working on.
That's great.
I'm working on. It's hard. You have to. I guess maybe I'm not that good of a boss, and I don't nurture certain things. And for me as a person, I'm learning to grow that way. I've always just been, hurry up, get it done, you know. And it's like, why are all these switches on the ground? We can't use them now. But
Did your financial degree help you in the analytics of understanding profitability, or so walk me through that.
I understand interest rates, time value of money. So when I did my acquisitions, I just did the math, and you know, if you know, you're always concerned, right? Geez, but when you're young, you're kind of naive, so to say, and you just make it work.
Right.
You just
Hard work.
sometimes you work harder, not smarter,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
And I've never been afraid of hard work, and so I've just worked hard. And you know, I started with the NAPCO, did the Honeywell thing, Interlogics, then they bombed.
Right.
You remember ITI?
Sure. SX5.
SX5. That was a great panel. But I actually
Do you still have any customers that have them?
not an SX5.
We still have a few customers that
Caretaker
have SX5s.
though, couple
Caretakers,
caretakers.
yeah.
But I approached radionics. God, early '80s. I'm like, you know, hey, I'd like to become. That was 80-12, right?
Right.
40-12.
Sure.
I'm like, because they were kind of like the elite panel, and they wouldn't have me, and so I installed NAPCO for probably 25 years, and you know, I used to send Dick Soloway products that
Sure.
I'm like, hey, you know, Dick, you gotta, and but alarm.com, when I started using alarm.com, you know, I see the innovation that they have and their ability to write the software, because all the hardware manufacturers, they make a panel and it's static. It never changes. And then in the old days, we used phone lines for transmission.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I hated that, hey, my phone doesn't work. And the phone company said it's your alarm. And I go
vice
out
versa.
there,
Yeah.
and there's always this finger pointing. So early on, I adopted cellular. I've been all cellular since 2G. In fact, before 2G, I was using the 7720 radios from Ademco.
AlarmNet A.
Yeah, AlarmNet A. And so I don't have anything on POTS.
So when you went through, for example, from analog to 1.5G, 2G, 3G, 4G, walk me through that. I mean, that must have been a nightmare.
Well, okay, so you know, we had AT&T shut down the network, what was it, 2 years ago?
Right.
And I knew it was coming. They said, on this date,
Right.
it's
Right.
not going to be here anymore. So I was very proactive. We do a service call. If they're on an old radio, change it.
Right.
And I was also very proactive. When COVID hit, I called my distributors. How many radios do you have? Because of the chip shortage, send all of them to me. So I bought all the ADIs, Alarmax. I bought all their radios. And I used to go into distribution, and people would go in there, hey, I need a radio. And my salesman would go, the only guy I know who has them is that guy standing next to you.
Wow.
And I even ship some to, you know, to my other dealer friends, right? They're, hey, you know, we all talk to each other. It's like, hey, I need this. Oh yeah, sure, boom. Because we all have to help each other. And you look at the, you know, the big telecoms that have come and gone. They think, oh yeah, it's, you know, like Edison, who's our power company, figures,
Yes.
oh yeah, this is very easy. It's just like put running power to your house. You just put it in, and you don't have to. No, it's not like that. So, you know, they got in the alarm business, but they come and they go. It's a very customer service oriented business.
Daniel, should we be concerned of the DIY systems of today? Or should we embrace it, or should we shun it?
That's an interesting question. I mean, you're always going to have the young, smart, savvy people who could probably do some of it. The stuff that's internet based, they don't realize that it's very vulnerable, and you have to back things up, and they can still cut your bandwidth on the outside of your house.
Yep, absolutely.
So, and I'm finding that's also a good source of work for us, because by the time they're done with it, they're willing to pay to have it done right. You know? And so I would say, yeah, I'm a little concerned, but there's always people willing to pay for good work and good service.
Daniel, are you, would you consider yourself a residential company, a commercial company, a fire alarm company, an access company, all the above?
All the above.
All the above. Okay.
And now, all of our growth is organic. It comes from our existing
So you don't
client.
advertise at all?
No. I'm not on Google. I'm not on Yelp. And
Wow.
and people
Impressive.
tell me, well, you really need to be on Google, and you really need to be on Yelp. And I'm like, no, I don't, because I can't keep up, or we can't keep up with the work that we have.
Right.
That's
And that's commendable,
That's
because, you know, you don't want to
commendable,
take,
for sure.
you don't want to take where you can't provide the service, right?
Yeah, like right now we're booking the end of January, and people, they don't want to wait.
Right.
And if you don't accommodate them, they're going to get on Yelp and they're going to badmouth you.
Yeah.
So I just figure we'll just avoid
So
them.
you've got about a 7-week, almost 8-week backlog.
I would say about between 5 and 6
5
weeks.
and
But
6.
like today, when I was at the convention today, 3 people confirmed. An HOA, another company that we've done work for, and I think that's a good thing. And like the jobs that came in today, Tech MD's one of my customers, right? They got referred to us. We did their building, access control, bird, fire, everything, and they must like us, because now they called us. We're doing another one.
Right.
986 pharmacies. We did a couple pharmacies for them. My competitor did a couple pharmacies for them, but now it seems like we're doing all of them. And it's just the relationship. And I don't nickel and dime people. It's like, here's my quote, and it's like, oh, you added a sensor. If it's big things, yeah, I'll charge them. But if I missed on the quote, if I missed some windows, we eat it. That's my bad.
okay.
Yeah, and
Sure.
and that's just good faith. Hey, my bad. We're gonna.
Daniel, are there any technologies you'd like to get into in the future?
Well,
Services?
believe it or not, we've been doing. We've done a lot of video, but we've done video monitoring from the old Sherwood receiver days, and so now I'm trying to embrace the AI more, and I think that's going to be a very big part of our industry, and it's going to drive down the false alarm rates, and that's where we're headed. I firmly believe that.
We were talking about earlier about best practice and the importance of, you talked about working with other dealers
Right.
and associations, and how do you collaborate on best practice?
Right. And as a company, you have to have standards, right? This is how we do it.
Right.
For this, we do this. For this, we do this. For this, we do this. And it's good to balance things. Like I've asked you, hey, I'm having problems, and you were gracious enough to send me your videos,
Right,
and I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
And we do the same.
Yeah.
We have questions and call John, and that's what makes this industry so much fun.
Yeah.
Is we don't all have the answers. At least most of us know we don't have all the answers, but we know the people to call to get all the answers.
Right. And it's good to call your other dealers that you're
Yeah.
friendly with, and just say, hey, what do you think? And that's how I got Alarm.com, yeah, Chong Yao from AEC Alarms, like, Dan, no. I was using Total Disconnect, and he's like, it's much better.
Yeah. I don't know too many other industries, I could be wrong, but I don't know too many industries that have that true collaboration
Right.
among companies. You know, I've seen some that it's like there's an iron curtain.
Right.
You know, oh, we can't talk about that, we can't talk about that. But our industry is a little unique in that respect, where, you know, we want professionalism. I think everyone wants professionalism.
Right.
You know,
And that's the only way this industry is gonna grow. Like, you know, fire alarms, at least you have code, right? For burglar alarms, there's no code.
Right.
Whatever flies. And I've gotten out of that. You know, it's like, well, who's gonna do it the cheapest? And I've had people call me and say, you know, well, I'm getting 3 bids, right? And I go, well, not from me, you're not, because I'm not going to be the cheapest. That was never my goal. My goal is to be the best, not the cheapest. And price and quality, they have an inverse relationship.
Yeah.
So, but that's why I come to these conventions.
well, it's great to have you. It's John. You have any questions?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you very much.
And
yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Get a whole nother, you know,
Perspective.
Yeah. You know, the different parts of the country. You're in Northern Cal. My aunt and uncle live up here, and I've been coming up here for a long time. And you're back in Massachusetts, and it's just good to pick each other's brains.
You know, it's interesting. You wouldn't think this, but there are so many differences, both and I understand some of it is regulatory, but just in customer expectations. Installation techniques are different.
Yes.
Right? There's more differences than similarities.
Yes.
And we pick up so many great ideas. You know, I remember coming to the CAA meetings many years ago, and at the time they were asking everyone what state are they from or where are they from, and I raised my hand. I said, from Boston, Massachusetts. The guy next to me tapped me on the shoulder and said, what are you doing here from Boston, Massachusetts? And I said, well, understand, you know, I try to learn, right? I try to pick up, you know, you do things a little differently here, and I want to know.
We're networking.
And so the next year I missed coming to the CAA meeting, and I think subsequently the year after we came, the same guy tapped me on the shoulder and said, where were you last year? So, you know, it's funny, you create these bonds of friendship and knowledge. It really is great.
And I'm a lot of the guys that I started the industry with, they're retiring now, and like my reps and stuff, a lot of them are gone. But like most of the reps down there, like, I don't know, they're just good friends. Oh, they work for X, Y, Z, especially on the product side, right? And what's really nice is when you have relationships with your vendors, and you can drop a dime and call them, hey, I need help. I can't get this part. Like Alarm.com right now, there's a cellular video module. And they keep, we're coming out with it. It's in beta. And I told them, well, I need one because I sold it last week. So don't worry, you're going to have one.
Excellent. Yeah.
Okay.
And those are the kind of relationships
You're right.
I treasure.
You're right. So, well, thank you.
All right. Well,
Thanks
thanks,
so
guys.
much.
I really appreciate it.
Daniel, thank you so much. Great to have you. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.